I'm Pia Hontiveros. This is News.PH, but it's not politics as usual. Our guest tonight is Majority Leader Neptali Boyet Gonzales, the second of the House of Representatives. Majority Leader Gonzales, who's of the House of Representatives, whose balance of power we talk about tonight. Good evening, Congressman Gonzales. We're talking about the House of Representatives' balance of power, not yours, not your personal balance of power. Thank you very much for being with us tonight, sir.
My pleasure.
So you have an overwhelming 245 congressmen who voted. Is that correct? My math is good.
Yeah, 245
voted for Speaker Belmonte.
But the total numbers of the number of the majority coalition by this time would be more than 250 because the 245 were those who voted for the speaker, but there were members absent, like there were two members of the Liberal Party who were absent at the time, Biazon and Ocampo, but of course they have attended session right
Pong
now.
Biazon and sino Ocampo? Sandy?
Si Sandy Ocampo.
Okay.
So that's 247. So, and some other members who have already reported back to work sa Kongreso, kaya more than 245 ang key speaker.
Okay, so 245, or like you said, no, that should be plus two, an overwhelming, for lack of a better word, an overwhelming majority who voted for Sonny Belmonte for Speaker. And then you had 18 for Zamora, 16 for Romualdez.
19 for Zamora.
I'm sorry, 19.
And 16.
19 for Zamora and 16 for Romualdez.
Right.
Itong 240, merong di ba? Merong nag-abstain, di ba?
Si Toby Chanco abstained and yun. So si Toby nag-abstain and then 16 voted for Martin. But about 7 of them have already manifested their intention to join the majority.
In the lower house, of course, you do not have a vote for minority leader. Ang nangyayari lang, tumatakbo para pang speaker.
Kasi under our rules, traditionally, the one who gets the second highest vote would become the minority leader.
Okay. Hindi naman company union itong minority.
Hindi naman siguro papayag si Ronnie na matawag siya na company union. Ano lang talaga it so happen lang talaga na talaga yun lang bumoto talaga kay Ronnie, and unfortunately for Martin was not able to make it dahil kinulang siya sa boto.
Siya yung sinuportahan ni Gloria Arroyo, hindi ba?
I really do not know, but she is part of the lakas, and I do suppose that as a lakas she is for Martin, but she was not able to vote dahil wala siya doon nung Monday morning na yan.
Of course. Was this 245 who voted for Sonny Belmonte, was it as overwhelming as when we counted the votes of those who wanted to be a part of the Rainbow Coalition, the Sunshine Coalition? You remember that, di ba? That wasn't too long ago.
Because the Congress right now has a bigger number than before. In fact, if we are kompleto na kami, 292 kami. Raymond Mendoza of TUCP took his oath before the speaker kanina because he was proclaimed as a party list representative of TUCP yesterday. So 289 na kami kanina. So we're still waiting for 3 to complete the full roster of the
yung
House.
Tatlo are?
Yun yata yung sa senior citizen. Hanggang ngayon hindi pa nila natatapos.
Oo. Pero ibig kong sabihin yung 245 na bumoto kay Sonny Belmonte, as overwhelming ba as yung mga bumoto dun sa Rainbow Coalition, ni JDV, Sunshine Coalition, ni JDV 2001?
Because right now kasi mas kokonti ang minority. Even during the time when Edsel Lagman was the minority leader, there were about 35 of them na minority. Now, if you are to consider, just for the sake of argument, yung 7 na natitira na independent would still be considered as minority. Mga 26 lang sila. So talaga mas malaki ngayon talaga ang majority block.
Itong since I mentioned it already, no, Rainbow Coalition, Sunshine Coalition, itong walang pangalan tong coalition.
Wala talaga.
Walang may gustong magbansag ng
wala,
kahit
wala,
anuman.
wala.
Okay. Pero ang tanong is, will it hold till 2016?
Pardon?
Will it hold till 2016?
Sana, but I do suppose that in terms of yung mga legislative agenda that will not be affected by future party realignments because of to be influenced by the presidential election 2016, mag-hold naman yan. Ano? But 2 years from now, I really do not know. Kaya nga ako, may task as majority leader to make sure that the first 2 regular sessions of the 16th Congress will be very fruitful. Because at least I think from my experience, medyo malayo-layo pa yun doon sa 2016.
In other words, yung mga the important business must get done in the first 2 regular sessions.
Saka there are many naman There are many bills of importance that would not necessarily be affected by the 2016. Yung Chacha, for one, will be affected by the 2016. But yung other mga priority measures na the country would need to sustain our economic progress and growth, I'm sure that all will be supportive because mahirap naman na ikaw ay mga brand na you are opposing any bill or legislation that will yung talagang will hasten or at least make sure that talagang mas maganda ang takbo ng ating economy.
Binanggit mo yung first and second regular session of this 16th Congress. What are the dates? So, first regular session is July 2013
ang first regular session namin nag-start noong
22.
State of the Nation Address and that it will end on June 30.
June 30, 2014.
A month before June 30 next year, where we are going to be in sine die adjournment. So
May
then,
2014. Okay.
Right.
And then second regular session
then
is
the
July
State of the Nation address next year by the
2014.
President, fourth Monday of July, to again
May
mga 30, more than 30, at least 30 days before June 30 of 2015.
Okay, so about May 2015,
And then,
which is about a year before the elections.
And then 2015, ang pinaka-importante na lang doon will be the budget. After the budget, wala na yan.
Wala na, kanya-kanya na yan.
Wala na kasi that's the history naman ng Congress. Once the last budget is approved, then going back to the provinces, to mga districts kasi lalo na ngayon, 'di ba, napaaga ngayon ng filing of the certificate of candidacy.
Right.
So unlike before noon na mga 50 for us, mga 50 days before election lang kami nagfa-file ng certificate of candidacy. But by now, October, because of the PICOS, kaya antimano, alam ka na kaagad kandidato, so you have to go back because your opponents, for those seeking re-election or for those running for other position, governor, mayor, etc. Yung mga kalaban nila nangangampanya na. Ikaw naiiwan ka diyan, baka maiwan ka sa pansitan. Kaya you have to go back to your respective districts. Kaya pag may tapos na ang budget talaga, it's very difficult to get a quorum. Kaya nga sabi ko, yung first 2 years should be very fruitful, not because of the influence to be by the presidential election, but simply because magre-re-election. So even even if you are to say that you are not concerned with the presidential election, but you will be concerned with your own re-election or election for other positions.
Well, re-election or elections on 2 different levels because you have to safeguard your own
of course.
District, your constituency, But at the same time, syempre presidency. And yun yung frame of mind ko, nung tinatanong ko kung if this alliance, this coalition will hold in 2016. And it was interesting that when you said the important thing is to get the work done in the first 2 regular sessions dahil in the last year,
so
alliances are going to shift, right?
Definitely.
There will be a shift in allegiances,
definitely. There's going to be ano naman yan talaga it's a natural phenomenon during a presidential election. Nagkakaroon ng shifting of alliances. yung mga partido na walang kandidato, no, for presidential election, then na-prepare siya either to align with other political parties that meron, or nagkakaroon ng mga coalition.
Yeah.
Like what happened dito lang sa ano, but it's not for the presidential election, but sa ano lang, sa mga senatorial candidates, di ba, nagkaroon ng coalition yung NP, and NPC.
Yeah. Well, let's take your case. So, Liberal,
Yeah.
Mandaluyong, and the Majority Leader. For 2016, will you shift allegiance, or are you going to be with the Liberal Party? Or
I will
going to
be with the
President
Liberal
Aquino?
Party.
With the Liberal Party,
Yeah.
at kahit sino man ang maging standard bearer ng Liberal Party.
Yeah.
Pero sinabi na ni Senate President Frank Drilon na it's going to be Mar Rojas.
Ang direction of the party, kahit naman si presidente naman pag nakakausap, talaga ang direction kung ang election is next week, then it's going to be Mar Rojas who's going to be the standard bearer. Hindi ko lang alam kung sino yung magiging vice presidential candidate. I'm sure it's not me, no? Hindi ako yun. Kaya libre sila pumili.
Headline, Gonzales says it ain't him.
Ano sila? Libre sila pumili kung sino magiging vice. But yun ang ano, yun ang malinaw ngayon nangyayari.
Oo. Pero how will allegiances shift? Sabi mo, that will happen, no? Presidential elections in the run-up to 2016. Of course, everybody knows, no? It's going, as Frank Drilon was saying, itagamo sa bato si Mar Rojas ang LP standard bearer. You have Jojo Binay saying that he's going to run also. So in a Mar Jojo
palagi ko at the very least sa 2016 tatlong kandidato. Tatlo dahil
sino yung pangatlo?
Baka manggaling sa other political party which is now part of the coalition. Kaya nga noon pa lang yung mag-go hold yan do sa mga economic but insofar as political yung relationship is concerned, medyo maaapektuhan yan because like if a member of the Nacionalista Party would seek would also offer himself to be a presidential
himself. Someone named Alan Peter Cayetano.
Perhaps, di ba? So magiging three-way fight yan, di ba?
Okay.
And then there you go na makikita mo kaagad na towards the end of the 16th Congress, kung talagang may mag-go talaga from the Nacionalista, then try as we might to maintain the coalition in the House, baka magkaroon ng realignment.
So you think it will only be mga nationalista lang ang aalis sa coalition? Walang ibang liberal na tatalon?
Hindi ko alam kasi, like now, hindi ko alam kasi if from the ranks of the NPC kung meron silang kandidato for kasi actually it's too early to say kasi ang ano lang naman ngayon, because Jojo Binay has early on announced of his intention, and then of course from the LP perceived talaga si Mar will be the presidential candidate. So I really do not know from other political parties like the NPC. Hindi you wouldn't know na baka biglang.
Pero di ba hindi alam naman natin hindi naman porket may kandidato ka doon ka, di ba? Kasi merong marami namang congressman at senador na lumilipat ng partido, hindi ba?
Because of kumisan yung mga personal may mga personal yung mga friendships, di ba? That kumisan goes beyond the political affiliation.
Okay, we'll have to take a short break. News.PH will be right back. We're with Majority Leader Boyd Gonzales. Stay with us. Be right back. Welcome back. You're still watching News.PH on the Solar News channel. I'm Pia Hontiveros. Our guest tonight, House Majority Leader Boyd Gonzales. So, for 2016, yung iba, like mga liberal halimbawa, ikaw, you said you will stay with the liberals in 2016.
Saka tapos na rin ang term ko
babalik ka ng mayor?
Sana.
So, palit muna kayo ni Benher Abalos.
Sana.
Ganun ba yun? Balik na naman tayo sa dati. Pero yung iba, aalis ba sa liberals? Di mo masabi?
Ano ko naman siguro naman, baka naman kung may umalis man baka kukonti lang because it will also kasi itong election na to will also be affected on how popular the president is going to end up his term, ano? Yung unlike before dati noon, yung kay GMA noon, unfortunately for Gibo, parang pag ikaw ang na perceived na kandidato ni GMA at that time, medyo dehado ka eh. So naapektuhan din si Manny Villar doon, yung Villarroyo. Now, malaking bagay din ang role of the president by 2016 eh. Kung if the president has a trust rating and na approval rating na mataas by 2016, then kahit papaano ay makaka-apekto rin yung endorsement by the president. So it's also for somebody na from the Liberal Party na makikinabang siya doon if the president's approval rating by 2016 is so high that maganda.
You're saying the popularity of the president will transfer to whoever he anoints.
Kahit pa paano, may ano yan merong ano yan, whether you call it 5%, 3%, in a close fight, in a three-way fight or a four-way fight, a 5% na endorsement value or 7 to even 10% endorsement value by the president can turn the tide.
But doesn't it also matter yung produkto mismo, no? Yung kandidato mismo? Because
sure.
I mean, okay, you had Cory Aquino endorsing FVR in 92 and usually popular president endorsing FVR, and he gets away with it. You know, he becomes president. But you know, you had FVR in '98 endorsing Joe De Venecia, and he loses miserably to ERAP.
Kaya it's not ano rin. Sabi, if Mar is serious in gunning for the presidency in 2016, he should not only exclusively rely on the endorsement value of the president by 2016. He himself must make himself acceptable to the people, ano? And yung sa mga lalo sa mga mga masa. I think Mar has to work on yung paano siya ma-accept as one of the masses. Yun ang magiging problema niya.
Of course, the title for episode tonight is The Majority. So let's go back to talking about the majority. Baka kasi sabihin nila ang titulo ng episode natin ngayong gabi ay Mar Rojas. So majority. Okay. What are Congressmen's sentiments now about the pork barrel scam?
Well, siyempre kanina kainitan nga ng konti dahil a congressman was quoted by two major news dailies about yung allegedly he has a partial COA report that nagsasabi may other 98 lawmakers na involved do sa PDAF scam. So kanina anticipadedly may parang saying na you have to name, hindi naman pwede yung mahirap kasi diba? So may kainitan kanina. So so meron naman has already filed an investigation. And even the one who delivered the privilege speech, si PD Barsaga, made a motion for the proper investigation of the subject matter. And we will refer it to the proper committee and but ako, suggestion ko kila speaker later on, we have to meet, the leadership has to meet. What's the direction that we are going to take on this? Do we let the agencies yung other agencies of government outside of the halls of Congress ang to do its investigation so that we will
or will you investigate yourselves?
So that we will
honest
not
to
be
goodness investigation?
So that we will not be accused of yun nga ang problema niyan if you investigate and then you come out with with a report that clears everyone, and then sasabihin sa iyo whitewash yun kaya nga that's something that we have to decide we ourselves investigate or let other agencies investigate it. That's what's happening right now.
Has any of your pork barrel gone to any of these NGOs?
Ako palagi ko LGU LGU lang, LGU lang ako palagi talaga.
Okay. Pero have you heard of the name Napoles?
No, hindi ko,
before?
actually,
Hindi mo alam yun?
dahil nga hindi ako nag-ano doon, it's the first time that narinig ko lang yung pangalan na Napoles.
Okay. Pero yung dun sa listahan ng mga pangalan ng mga NGO, none of them were familiar to you?
No, because ako, as I've said, palagi lang ako LGU, no?
Oo.
So, lahat ng aking, lahat ng, pag ako manghihimi, kasi di ba, alam mo naman kami, pwede kami maglagay sa mga ospital, yung mga, for health, But ako lahat sa city lang ako nilalagay ko lahat ng aking yung PDAF. Let me just clear lang kasi kumisan ang tingin ng tao pag soft PDAF lahat yan eh. I think there's a misconception of what PDAF means eh.
Yeah.
For a congressman like me, ang pwede lang namin identify is 70 million. 70 million, 40 million of which is hard. The
Hard
30
meaning
million
and
is the
soft meaning.
PDAF.
Yeah.
Iyan PDAF. Dating CDF yan.
Countrywide
Naging
Development
30. So, yung PDAF namin. Either ako, pwede ko. Then there's a menu or how you are able to identify which agencies of government you're going to put it. Then ako, yung lahat ng 30 million ko, then sa city ko dinadala yun. Then ang city nag-implement nun. Now, ang mga agencies of the national government, may kanya-kanya rin silang pondo. That authorizes them to, na hindi lang for infra, but yung mga yung acquisition ng or parang MOOE, yung pera talaga, yung the cash, that's not PDAF. Ang PIDA, ang yun, that's their regular funds. Kaya kung halimbawa ako, alam mo naman kami mga congressman, pag budget, we are all beggars eh. So, kung halimbawa, lahat, you try to, like me, siyempre, direction namin is to help the agency shepherd their, yung mga bills sila, nandun ka naman, Pia, nag-cover ka rin. So, siyempre ikaw, knowing the importance of what you're doing for them, halimbawa, hingi ka sa kanila, meron naman kayong budget na, makikita mo yung budget, pag-aralan mo. Meron sila, let us say, 100 million or so to acquire computers for their whatever, Budget nila yun. Then, ikaw, sasabihin mo, baka naman pwede mo naman ako out of your 100 million or so na then baka naman makaamot ako ng mga 50 or 30 computers for my district. Now, pag binigay sa iyo yun, that's not your PDAF. That's their own funds. Fund nila na galing. Kaya lang, it's a soft component of their own budgetary allocation.
Okay. We have to move on. Freedom of information, what fates awaited at the lower
Well,
house?
siyempre, ang ginawa namin ngayon, dala ko nga kanina yung aking folder. We have, we're trying to identify, kasi we are just referring yung mga bills that have already been filed during the first day of which is the following day of June 30, July 1. So from there, mamimili kami talaga ng mga priorities, and then yung kanyang sequence, including what the President has said during the State of the Nation address.
But he did not mention FOI.
Kaya ang House
in other words, you're saying na hindi siya priority ngayon.
No. If it's not part of the priority of the SONA, it can find its way as a priority of the House.
Okay.
Dahil kasi, like what happened naman before, ang House as an institution and as a co-policy maker, we also make recommendations. We also set our own policies. Ano ang bibigyan ng ipaprioritize mo. And then you also consider part of the priority of the House will be those stated by the President in the State of the Nation address.
Right.
We are also anticipating na pag tumawag siya ng LEDAC, yung sinasabi ni Cesar Purisima na 6 or so na economic bills will be part and parcel of the SONA pronouncement. So
Okay.
that will find its way as part of the House priority.
Yeah, okay. So, my question is, yung FOI.
The FOI was part of the House priority naman during the 15th Congress.
Oo, pero 16th Congress ngayon. So, ngayong 16th
It's
Congress,
possible
will it
that
be? It's possible pa lang.
it will be part of the ang ano ko lang kasi magmi-meet the speaker has not yet decided yung pag-cluster kasi the deputy speakers kina-cluster yan to take care of the economic, political, whatever na mga bills. And then from there, nagmi-meet kami and then we prioritize and then ini-schedule namin yan kung kailan matatapos.
Nabanggit mo na kanina yung charter change, di ba?
Yeah.
Na this may be affected, sabi mo, by 2016.
Ang akin for the charter change to prosper, it must only be for the economic bills.
Provisions. Yung final speaker.
Economic lang, yung key speaker lang. Anything that has got to do with political,
Meaning changing
the form of government, term limits, etc. Wala na, patay na yan. And that will yun na talaga ang papatay sa ano because that's the usual scare tactics na nagagamit even before kahit nung first term pala ko ng congressman. Pag pinag-usapan na ang charter change, no matter how important substantial your proposals are, the moment sabihin na kunwari lang yan, ang ano lang yan para si JDB maging Prime Minister, extend ng term na ganito, shift ng parliamentary. Wala na, patay.
Leading up to 2016,
wala na.
Sino yung may gustong maging Prime Minister?
Hindi, kaya nga, ang pinakamaganda niya kay Speaker, yun ang pinakamaganda because very transparent. Kasi nakalagay lang naman dyan.
Very clearly spelled
very
out.
clear. Nakalagay ganito. Pagpalagay mo, ownership of land in the Philippines shall be in the hands of the Filipinos. Exclusively. Or corporations, 60-40 of which is Filipino. Ang nakalagay lang kay Speaker, instead the period sa dulo, lagyan mo lang kama, unless otherwise provided for by law. In other words, you make it via a legislation, then a amendment to the Constitution that will open yung land ownership. Ano?
Okay.
Now, kung even pag pumasa yan sa amin, then kailangan pumasa rin sa Senate.
Okay.
Diba?
I have to say goodbye, so I have 1 minute to go, and then I'll ask a very quick question, quick brief answer from you. Will the Bangsamoro Basic Law sail through easily or meet stiff resistance?
Well,
very quickly?
Part of the SONA pronouncement, we'll give it our best shot. If it's needed by the country, then we'll do it.
Okay. Padrinos in the Bureau of Customs, are there any in the lower house?
Pardon?
Padrinos?
Wala akong alam na may padrino sa yung mga
congressman at matawag.
Kaya yung dapat yung nagsasabi na may mga padrino, whoever
yun
is,
dapat
sila magsalita because that's put a cloud to the mahirap naman yan na palagi there are 292 congressmen ngayon.
Who all feel alluded to.
Padrino, di ba?
Yeah.
Di ba? Mahirap yan. Kailangan sabihin nilang diretsuhan kung sino-sino.
Okay. Thank you very much, Majority Leader Boyet Gonzales. Thank you for being here tonight. Maraming salamat. And thank you for watching. I'm Pia Hontiveros. This is News.PH. See you again next Wednesday. Good night.